Hello, 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 everyone. How's it going? Welcome back for the part three of our three-part session of building ToolLoop. How's everyone doing? Please start checking in if you haven't already. There's a link in the chat. No messages since, so that's the latest one. And you'll also have a QR code somewhere on top left, top right, which you can scan for checking in. Please do check in. Helps me, helps you, helps MLH. Okay, welcome back, everyone. As I said, for the third and the final part of building tool loop. Now we have done some like significant progress, but at the same time we have a lot uh, left as well in a way. So I guess what we want to do is just ensure that we finish it today, or at least be at a point where uh, it's working, it is fine, it is usable, and then we can of course go back and improve on it, right? So yeah, that's basically my agenda for today. Uh, and for those who are coming here or joining me for the very first time, hello, my name is Utkarsh, but I prefer to go by UT because that's how everyone knows. It's my initials, it's easier to remember. I have been a coach at Major League Hacking for approximately 4 years, and I've been a streamer for approximately three of them, 3 years, yeah. And other than that, I guess yeah, I love to stream, love to build things on stream with you all. uh, have done significant amount of projects, and I have received significant amount of code contributions from you all, which is awesome. uh, and I'm hoping to get the same for this project. At the end of the session, if you have any suggestions or anything that you want to improve in this project, please don't hesitate to raise pull requests, create issues, create feature requests, uh, like whatever you want, right? So yeah, well, that's about it. Now, remind if you come back on my screen. Also, I hope you all have checked in. If not, let me just share the link again. Hello, hello. uh yeah, please do check in. Link is again in the chat. Please check in. I can't stress on it enough. And now I am just going to give you like 10 more seconds to hopefully check in, and then I'll just hide the QR code so you have more screen real estate to focus on what we are going to do. Okay, cool. So I guess this is the start of it. We have 2 hours to basically finish the major bits and pieces. Now, anything that can be copied over, and when I say copied over, I mean like the UI bits and pieces, which are just easier to write, or in a way you can ask LLM agents, like technically you can ask LLM agents to complete the whole project. But I want to focus on some significant bits related to the database. So Prisma, I think that would be new for you. Okay, not new for you all, but it was new for me. Okay, so I guess I want to ensure that uh, I focus more on it. Any bits and pieces which are more UI focused, which are just visual elements, I will possibly just copy paste them over from when I had created it. And yeah, okay, cool. So without any further ado, let's get started. Now, if you look at the screen, you will find that there are these 10 changes which I have not pushed. So 10 pending changes. And let me show you what the screen looked like before these changes go in, and after the changes go in. So let me do a git add all and then git stash. Okay. So I've stashed all the changes, which means we are back to what it was before. And let me just quickly restart my Next.js server. I go over to ToolLoop. So basically, I'm trying to show you where we were yesterday. So we had created the home page. If I go over to browse, list, tool, save, borrows, dashboard, it was 404. If I go to llms.txt, it was 404 again. And if I like this was working, okay. Dark mode and light mode was working. That was a significant progress. Uh, okay, jokes aside, but this is what it was. Now, if I just do a git stash pop, so there are these 10 changes that go in. What are these changes? So if I now again go back here, reload, and if I now go to, let's say, browse, list, a tool, save, borrows, dashboard, okay, just slow. But basically, if you now move to all these pages, you will find that they are not returning a 404. They are technically returning a 404, but more of a page that we have created, our visual page. And if I go to llms.txt, it has some details here. Okay. So what I have done basically is create some pages. So if I go into the app folder, there's a borrows folder with a page.tsx. It has some to do comments as well, but majorly or more importantly, this is what you need to focus on, what the to do comments are. uh, Sorry, what the page looks like. So it has, like, example, the borrows page. If I go to borrows page, no active borrow request, some details, and a button. Okay, so that's what this is. uh, there's a component empty state created, which we had created yesterday when we copied over all the UI folder. So just that, and it has a button which is as link, but you can make it. We had our own special link, track link, and then you can pass it some more details. So if you make it a track link, then basically it is going to track and log things. Oops. Yeah, there we go. It's going to basically log a few things. So you can do either. Uh, since we've created it, actually, you know what? Let me just convert all of it to a track link. Npm run lint. Okay, there we go. Perfect. So that's our borrows page. Similarly, there's a browse page that we have created. There are some to do comments, which is basically what this is supposed to look like, or when we add bits and pieces, which is when we add the Prisma. These pages need to change accordingly. That is what the to do comments are about. Similar for dashboard, I'm just basically going over through each page and changing it to tracked link. I'll push this to GitHub so that you can copy it over. uh, Pages as well. Sorry, the save page as well, and tools. Now in tools, the new one, the folder new with page.tsx, that is again to list a new tool. So even that one is kind of the word. Uh, Base one. So if I go to list a tool, there is, yeah, all those have some, uh, how do I explain? Some placeholders. Okay, all of these have some placeholders. But what we need to focus on, or what our significant work is going to be, is to ensure that when Prisma gets added, we have, uh, changed these pages and they actually list something that we can use. And then in the tools, you will notice this one thing, which is the square bracket ID. So in Next.js, there is this very special functionality which I like, which is that if you have it as an ID, it becomes a route, and then you can basically uh, switch through the pages, or you can have multiple pages, kinds of like index. Okay, so ID will have uh, let me think. Assume, like, let's say you have ID of tool number one, then you want to go to tool number two. You don't have to create multiple pages. This thing makes it kind of understand that ID will be passed as a parameter, and you can move through like multiple pages. So you have more routing based on ID. Okay, and ID then becomes a parameter, an input to this uh, all the pages that are created inside this square bracket ID. Okay. So if you're coming from React, this would be very similar to using, let's say, React router DOM. And in that, you have the concept of passing ID as a parameter inside a root. Uh, so very similar, but makes it way easier in Next.js. Okay. So cool. I guess that's some of the additional changes. The other things that I did was in public folder. So if you remember yesterday, I had oh, I'm going to push them in like 2 minutes. So give me two. Let me just finish up uh, talking about this one. So okay, in the public folder, I have added a few things. If you remember this website that we were looking at yesterday, what a good website does, and it has like some platform agnostic features. It should have title, it should have a bunch of things. It should also have this security.txt, which has how do people report any security issues on your website. So basically I followed this specific what a good website does, in terms of SEO, in terms of security, in terms of robots coming on to the page, in terms of sitemap. And I've created this like some details, fake details. Of course, this domain and this email policy doesn't exist. Uh, but just to know kind of how to create one. LLMs.txt has some pages of what this website is about, so that LLMs can read and understand it. Robots.txt has details around which robot or AI crawlers can crawl this and what is allowed, what is not allowed. Sitemap.xml is again for uh, SEO perspective. So any bot crawlers can basically go through this and yeah, get an idea of which routes exist, what those routes contain, so on and so forth. Okay, so just some simple stuff around there. And now let me push this. So I've done that. Git commit, not clean up. This is more of a feature fit. And this will have what all placeholder pages and git push. Perfect. Okay, there we go. So now if you do a git pull, you should have these pages, these changes. Let me know if you don't have it. Push like just now. Placeholder pages, all the pages that we created, and some changes in the public folder. Okay, cool. Any questions? Please do a git pull and let me know. Okay, cool. I think we have waited long enough. Now, let's start with the fun bits. Let me rearrange my windows so that it is in the format that I like and I can easily browse. Okay, cool. So, as I was saying, the fun bits begin now. So, for next 1.5 hours, 1 hour 45 minutes, is when we go through Prisma. We'll copy over the UI bits. The visual bits will be copied over, but I'll try to explain my best around Prisma. And at any point you don't understand something, ask me. And if we both don't understand something, like you and me, then we'll ask AI Studio, Google AI Studio, because yeah, Gemini is great. And Copilot is great, and every other AI model, Claude is great. Every other AI model is great. So we'll try to use them to the best of their abilities, our abilities. Okay. Uh, yeah. Uh, yeah. In my opinion, they're just tools. Use the best tool possible for the best work you want to do. Cool. So after you pull, very quickly, let me repeat. After you pull all the changes, please make sure that you just stop and restart your server. And npm run dev. Make sure you are on node 22. That is very important. I have not made any package JSON changes, so there's nothing that needs installation. Uh, but make sure that you're on node 22, because afterwards, like for Prisma, we'll have to be on node 22. Okay. So after you make a pull, you will have like all these pages not crashing, which is great. Uh, and you'll have text shown, example like llms.txt here. And I don't know what else. I guess that's it. Hmm, okay, cool. Uh, Moving on to the next bits. Where do we focus next? Okay, let's start with the Prisma work. Okay, oops, sorry, wrong buttons. Cool. Okay, so where we start? We'll create a folder called as Prisma, and we'll add schema.prisma. So the schema.prisma will be the single source of truth for our database shape. It will have like all the enums around, let's say what categories will have, all the conditions, the request status. Remember we talked about state, not state, I guess state, yeah, state machines, right? Yesterday we talked about state machines, and we were like, oh, from this point, where do you go? Like, if a request can be pending, from pending it can be either approved or rejected. Uh, then if it is approved and the user borrows the tool, then they either return it. If it is rejected, then the tool request is cancelled, so on and so forth. Like, we were building out that state machine entirely, right? So I guess our major focus today will be basically converting that ideas into our schema. Okay, so let's start from there. Uh, Once again, let me tell you all that I will keep moving away from screen. Like, I'll come back and leave kind of, so that you have more screen real estate. You know where I'm writing code, which folder and stuff. Okay, cool. Coming, oh, sorry, going away. I'll close these folders and let's start with the first one. We will create Prisma, which would be a folder outside of SRC. So Prisma gets created right here. And inside it, we will create the first file, schema.prisma. Okay. So schema.prisma, this is where all our schema lives. Okay. As I said already. So let's start writing it. We'll have a generator, client, and there we go. Provider is Prisma Client JS. Yes, perfect. Then our data source DB, and my provider is not going to be Postgres. It is going to be SQLite, because it's a simple project, right? So I'm going to choose SQLite as the provider. Let's build the model user. Now you'll find that this actually looks very similar to writing a TypeScript type. Okay. let me come back on screen for this. As I start writing it and as AI starts suggesting me, excuse me, you will find that this looks very similar to writing TypeScript types. Instead of using the word type, we are using the word model, or actually, more like instead of using the word interface, we are using the word model, but the structure is similar. We'll use the word enum, which in TypeScript basically means a string, like string values, like these are the possible string values, things like that. Okay, so that's why I also like Prisma, because Prisma basically takes the headache around, oh, you need to write SQL like syntax, to actually making it a simple TypeScript interface for our database. So instead of us writing create table SQL by hand, we describe the shape for Prisma's DSL. DSL is, let's say, a domain specific language, I think, full form. I think that domain specific kind of uh, domain specific language, actually. Uh, I think it is, yeah, domain specific language. So unless someone knows something different, DSL means that. Okay, but basically the idea is that we define the table shape in a TypeScript like interface, and then Prisma will generate the SQL query for us. Okay, so every model that we create here, so example, a model of user will become a user table in SQL. And every field that we create inside this model, that is going to become a column in a table. Okay, and we'll have some relations as well, because uh, assume you have a user has an ID, and assume you create a tool like a hammer. Someone needs to be an owner of that hammer, right? It did not just magically appear. Someone needs to be a owner of that hammer, and that owner will have an owner ID. So we will now make a relation, kind of a foreign key relation, between the user ID and the tool owner ID. Okay. Hopefully that made sense. User has an ID, tool has an owner. So how do we connect a user with a tool? We'll create a key called as owner ID, which will basically be a foreign key coming from the user ID table. Okay. That's how we create that connection between them. Uh, a borrow request, another example would be like, we'll create this relation, or in the schema we'll create a relation that a borrow request will be between a user and a tool. So if these are two different tables, a borrow request will basically be a relation between these two tables. Okay, so on and so forth. So these relations that you have to like think, and in SQL might seem a bit more difficult. uh, it may like, as I start writing Prisma model, you will realize, oh, it's very simple to write it. Okay, you still have to do the mapping, you still have to think about it, but writing it is very easy. And also we'll be using libsql. So SQLite is normally basically opens a file on a disk which has a extension of .sqlite, I think, if I remember correctly. uh, so libsql is basically a fork of it. Okay, and it adds a network accessible protocol, and Prisma 7 uses Prisma slash adapter dash libsql, which is in our package JSON. Yep, there we go. Okay, so Prisma uses that. You can read more about it if you visit this, and I have opened it on the wrong browser, so let me just share here. Oh, there's a question that I had missed. I'm so sorry about that. After the project's end, so after the project ends, how can you contribute? That's a very good question. And that is what I've been focusing on. Like, please do contribute. So how would you contribute? I can open issues, and then you can utilize LLMs to kind of understand the requirement, learn yourself and write code, and take help of LLMs to basically write it. I guess that's the easiest or the most simplistic way to put it. Okay, so you can read more about that Prisma adapter libsql and Prisma slash client by going to the same website. Oh, Prisma has a Prisma IO as well. Okay, cool, 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 cool. I did not know that. Ah, this one. And you are absolutely welcome. Okay, coming back. So let's start writing the schema, and as we write it, we'll like I'll write a few, and maybe copy paste a bit. Uh, Reason because well, short on time, right? ID, I am going to say that's not going to be an integer. It's going to be of type string, and at ID, uh, and it is default, and we are going to use UUID. Okay, ID in our case will be of type string, and like you don't need these many spaces, but if you want to format it like nicely, you can add spaces just so that everything is formatted nicely. Uh, so what we have done here is we have created an ID. It's going to be of type string. It's an ID type, technically a Prisma ID type, and a default would be a UUID. Okay, which is a string of what's the word? I think it would be 32 characters. Four, 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 or 16. Let's see. Um, you can define how many you want. Uh, Name would be string, email would be string, and it has to be unique. Okay. We'll have a phone number which would be string, and it is optional. Okay. Then we'll have address which would be string, again optional. It will have neighborhood which is string, which is compulsory. Okay. So a user will have to declare their neighborhood. Neighborhood in this scenario means that let's say I live in okay, London would be a very big neighborhood. So let's break it down into some smaller neighborhood. Let's say neighborhood one. Okay. So when I define my neighborhood, I can see everyone who is lending tools in my neighborhood. Okay. Uh, it's basically makes it easier to kind of geographically find things that I need in my neighborhood. Uh, oh, sorry. There's a question here. Oh, the actual hackathon won't like there will be challenges if that's what you're looking for. There won't be a hackathon. Uh, for hackathon, you should visit mlh.com/events. Yes, mlh.com/events to basically find all the hackathons that you can join because hackathons are slightly different. Global Hack Week is more of streams, workshops, talks, learning new technologies, participating in like uh, challenge build like doing challenges and stuff. Okay, so you can find all the challenges here. Okay, so these are the challenges which get you like stuff. You'll have like I don't know stickers. You'll get postcards. You'll get uh, something or the other basically if you do these challenges. Challenges are from external providers like GitHub will have some, Presage will have some, Auth0 will have some. So you'll get like swags, goodies prizes for doing those challenges. Uh, but other than that, it is mostly like workshops. And if you want to participate in hackathons, you can find them on the events page of MLH. No problem. Okay, going back. Uh, so neighborhood. Since I'm not going to upload images, if you remember from our agents.md, we said there won't be any images. So how do we differentiate between different people? We'll have avatar color, which would be string. We'll have tools, which is going to be a tool array. Now, tool itself is going to be another model, or excuse me, another table, which we have not created yet, and that is why it's complaining. Okay, but we'll do that. And this is going to have a relation uh, with owned tools. Okay, a user. So, assuming if my user has been added to this, I will own a tool which will come from like this owned tools uh, column. Okay. Mm. Then we'll have the requests. So if I receive a request for a tool, that would come in from the borrow request model, and the relation will be with the made requests. And finally, my favorite, and it will come from favorite, and it is not going to have any. I mean, we can technically have a relation, possibly. Don't need much. Actually, the entire table can be differentiated. Okay, perfect. So that is all the things that a user will have. Next, let's create a model for a tool. Okay. Every tool will have an ID, of course. It will be of type string. Uh, at ID, it is default UUID. It will have a name, which is a string. I'll remove everything else. Um, Category, which will be of type category. Okay. Now, again, you will see that it starts complaining. Like it says category. It is not defined anywhere. So, what do you mean by category here? So, category at some point, we can define it as an enum. Okay. And instead of giving all these, let me create the category that I know we'll have. So, power tools and hand tools and garden, ladders, cleaning, automotive, other. Okay. Now suddenly you will see that it's not complaining anymore because now it knows that category column can have a value which would be one of these values. Okay. So that's how you use the enum. And if you remember, see here, tools was complaining that this tool model doesn't exist. Now it starts existing and there is no problem here. Okay. So it knows that there will be another table, and we use the array notation, sorry, array notation to say that, oh, a user can have multiple tools. Okay. And each tool will have these details. Let's say description would be a string, and the condition would be an enum condition. Okay. Now this condition enum, a tool can be a new, it would be well used, it could be good, fair, I don't know, something. So enum will be, it is a new tool, it is like new, it is good, it is fair, it is well used, which means like I've used my hammer like a lot. Okay. Maybe not new. Why will I lend my newly uh, bought like screwdriver set? I mean, I can. Okay, let's leave it as this. Okay. So that's the condition of a tool. Then we'll have the neighborhood, of course, which is like where is this, kind of uh, being sold. Rules, which would be a string, and available, which would be boolean, and default every tool that I add on the website will be available. So it is default true. We'll have an owner ID, and that would be a string, and we'll have an owner, which will be a user, and the relation would be with owned tools. It will have the field uh, fields of owner ID and this, and borrow request, that is fine, that's as is. Favorited by will have favorites, and this is created at, which is date time, and default is now. Okay, I guess this is one of the things, right? You don't understand what this means. Example, and this is where again we'll use AI. Let's learn how to use AI at this point. Okay, so we want to understand what this line basically means. So I am going to go over to AI Studio. Hmm, I'm going to pass it this, and I'm going to ask it, uh, explain this line. So like I'm expecting you all to basically learn using AI, or like, how would you make the best use of it? So you can, of course, give it things that I have given, and then see how what it tells you. Okay, how it explains you. If you don't understand, explain like I'm five. Kind of scenario can be used. So this line defines a relationship between a tool model and the user model in Prisma. Okay. Specifically, it establishes that every tool is owned by one user, one to many, where one user can own multiple tools. Okay. Owner will have like a virtual field of tool, blah, blah, blah. Find unique. User has a relation, add relation attribute. So owned tools. So this acts as a label to link this side of relationship with the correct field on the user model. Okay. In your user model, you have tools, tool, relation, own tools. So matching the string own tools on both sides tells Prisma that these two fields belong to the exact same relationship. Then the field's owner ID, this is the foreign key. So this specifies that the actual column in the database tools table storing the connection is the owner ID field. Okay. So this is my foreign key, and references ID. This is the primary key. This specifies that the value in owner ID must match the ID field in the user table. Okay. So basically, now if you have to understand this, uh, okay, like from AI, how I would interpret it. So we have a string matching which is at both places, so that Prisma knows that these two kind of need to match exactly. On the tool side, a tool is owned by an user who will have an owner ID, which is a string, and it needs to match exactly the user ID, and the references ID. Okay, it says that this is the primary key. Uh, oh, sorry, this one. ID field, sorry, my bad. ID field needs to be coming from here, and this needs to match the owner ID. So these two fields, the ID field from the user table and the owner ID field that we create here, these two need to be exactly the same. Okay. So the field in my current table, owner ID, needs to match with the user table ID field. Okay, this field. and the relation is by this string matching owned tools. So now, does that make sense? I'm going to take the silence as golden and assume that it made sense. Perfect. Okay. Thank you so much. Cool. And now that we have understood how the relationship works, and we have also used AI to help us, let's move on. And I'll just copy paste everything. Okay. So that we spend less and less time writing this out completely. And category and condition have been taken. So the only thing left is the request status. Perfect. Done. No errors. No one's complaining. Now let's take a quick look. So I copied over everything from like favorite bit, right? Hmm. Yeah. We got an explanation of this part, and everything else was copied over as from the favorite bit. I formatted the document. Uh, okay, from the favorite bit, it has an ID. Okay. Uh, UUID is the default. Then it has a relation with the user, and the user ID field in favorite references the ID field from the user table. Similarly, for tools, we have the field tool ID references the ID field in the tool table. So in tool table, do we have an ID field? Yes, we do. Okay. So that is what the field and the references is doing. Uh, Borrow request. Again, like relation with the string fields and references and some more enums. Yes, there's not much to explain there. Okay, yeah. I guess this would be the only other thing, right? This is again slightly newer version of it, of writing something. So again, let's leverage LLMs as much as possible. So if I go here and let me ask it like, what does this mean? Also explain the entire schema.prisma. Okay, there we go. So, better explanation, or not a better explanation, but more like an explanation which would make sense, right? So, at the rate, unique user ID and tool ID. So, this is a compound. So, think of it as like, not think of it, it is an array of two things. And this combination always needs to be unique across all rows in favorite table. And then it also gives you a description of what this is going to help you achieve. So a single user can favorite multiple tools, and a single tool can be favorited by multiple different users. But one user, same user, cannot favorite the same tool multiple times. I cannot go like favorite 5 times a hammer. If I favorite it, next time I click that favorite button, it should unfavorite it. Okay. And then there's the explanation of entire Prisma schema. And oh wow, it understood what it is about. I did not tell it. I literally started a temporary chat with just one message. uh, but it understood what is going on. Okay, it has like details around generator, Prisma client JS, data source, the user model, what it has, the tool model, the favorite, the enums, conditions, requests. Okay, I mean, like some of these are just text, right? Uh, but other than that, I guess everything else has been majorly explained, or I would say is easy enough to kind of understand. Uh, like nothing new that I have left. Yeah, I'm 100% sure. Okay, I guess that's it. Uh, okay. So after this, once you have created the schema.prisma, which let me push git add all, git commit and add schema.prisma git push so that you all have it. The next thing that we need to create is prisma.config.ts file. So this is what will tell Prisma where the database lives and which adapter to use. Okay. Oh, uh, a very good question. How does the LLM find the schema and how is it linked to project context? Uh, Technically, I have not linked it yet, but I can by putting it in agents.md, right? I can tell it that you can find the schema of this entire project by, I don't know, going to this file, okay? And use that as the source of truth for all available actions. So let's see. If I have to put it, where would I? Mm, mm, mm. In here, I guess, or data models possibly. Yeah, in here, I guess this would be a better place, right? Uh, yeah, there we go. Perfect. So now there is more details. Now, again, any LLM that is going to read this example, if you run Claude, Claude is going to reference agents.md. Agents.md is going to read this, and these are going as the instructions to it. Okay. So I can actually like git add, git commit. I'll amend the previous commit to have this as the instruction set, and git push force. So now if you go to the commits, you should have a commit where the Prisma schema has been added, and at the same time, agents.md has one more line. Okay. So please make sure that you, when like you pull the latest and get ready for some fun after this. Close all of this. So the next file, as I said, is going to be prisma.config.ts file. Okay. I'm creating it at the root of the project, and yeah, I guess that's it. Nothing else to say. So, uh, prisma.config.ts. This is where we'll define, uh, as I said, what uh, schema, not what schema, but more like where the database lives, where which adapter to use, where to create the file, where the data source is coming from, so on and so forth. Let's write it down. It's a fairly small file. So step one, import define config from Prisma config. Okay. Next is const db underscore URL is going to be process dot env dot database underscore URL. But if that is null, in that case, we want to create a file based database in the .prisma folder and dev.db. Okay, that will be the name of the database. Next, we'll have export default this. Where is the schema? Schema is in Prisma folder in slash schema.prisma. What is the data source? It is going to be the URL. And I'm going to have some migration script. Okay, migrations is basically will seed the database with something. So there's a seed, which means every time we want to add some fake data, it will come from dot slash prisma slash seed dot ts. So some fake data. You'll notice that this is kind of complaining and it's saying, oh, do you need to install type definitions? Blah, blah, blah. So let's do that very quickly. And we'll also have to update the ts config. So npm I dash dash save dash dev types slash node. So this would add types node. Oh, I already have it. Fine. Then what else? I need to add it node in my tsconfig.json in my types. Okay, it's already there. Then what else am I missing? Oh, include should include this. Oh, it's also in exclude. That's why. So okay, there we go. So that goes away. So my in my TypeScript, I've told it that these are the files that you need to basically focus on. Okay. And finally, this process.env, where is that coming from? We'll need to create a .env file, which is where our environment variables will live. So in our .env file, we'll need to create the database URL because that is the key that we're looking for. Database URL. It's going to be actually exactly this. File colon blah blah blah. Oops. I think yesterday we had also used this process.env, if I remember. Let me search through the code. Yeah, there we go. Next public site URL. So let me create that one as well. Localhost 3000. Perfect. That's our .env file. It is currently excluded from Git. So for anyone who wants to create it locally, .env file. So create .env file with this. Hopefully it goes as one message. Uh, did you all get it as a single message? I think yes. Yeah, it went as a single message. Perfect. Okay. So please create a .env file with this and update the ts config. I'll push this so you can just directly pull it. Okay. So now that we have our prisma.config.ts created, which has all the details of uh, how to create the database using the schema that we have provided. Okay. Uh, we need to do some migrations. Also, let me add some seed data. Mm, or should I do it later? Actually, let's do it later. Perfect. Okay, so next we need to run a command. Let's run it. I've created this, but I've not created the c.ts file yet inside the Prisma folder. So there's like we won't have any seed data yet. Seed data basically means some fake data. I think I'm repeating this now. Yeah. Cool. So let's do npx prisma migrate dev dash dash name init. So what is this command doing? Uh, Again, we can ask LLM for it, but I can give you a quick overview. So it is going to read from like it reads the prisma.config.ts to find the schema. It compares the current schema against the database state. In our case, we will not have any database, so it's going to generate a SQL migration file. Then it is going to create a prisma slash dev dot, like in Prisma folder, it is going to create a dev.db. So that is the SQLite file. And then it is going to run the SQL against that database. Okay. So let's run this and let's see what happens. If it fails, then we'll know. Okay. So here we go. It loaded the Prisma config from that file, that path. Okay. Prisma.config.ts, which is what we had created. Then it Prisma schema was loaded from Prisma folder slash schema.prisma, which is what we had defined where to find the schema. Then the database DB source, it is created SQLite database at def.db. Again, everything that we defined. And it was created applying a migration. This is a timestamp underscore init. And these are the migrations that have been created. So new folder migrations was created. And now uh, this is basically do not manually edit it. Okay. This is for SQL to kind of uh, no, for Prisma to write and to know that you are which provider you're using. Yes. Okay. Which provider you're using basically. And if I now go into migration.sql, you will see that there is every SQL that you would need. Okay. Not every SQL, but more like all the SQL commands that you need slash uh, is needed by your database. Okay. You didn't write all of it. This was created thanks to the schema. Okay. 55 lines of it. Create a table user ID. It is a text, not null. It's a primary key tool. Again, and this happened. Let's compare them with the schema.prisma. Okay. So create table user, which was this model user. Let me close all of this. Okay. Create table user, which is this model user ID, which is text, which is basically string. It is at ID default UUID. It is not null and it is a primary key. Okay. Which basically comes from this constraint. Name, email, phone, address, uh, neighborhood, avatar color, and then these things, these relations are missing. Okay, so let's find them. Okay, at some point it would be there, or maybe created after we have created some details. Oh, there we go. I think more or less. Owner will have multiple. A user will have multiple tools, which will once we start seeding data, we'll have it. We'll have more migrations, kind of. Uh, Here's a constraint on our tool table, tool owner ID foreign key. It's in foreign key for the owner ID and it references the user table ID. And on delete, okay, uh, restrict on update cascade. So if something updates, make sure that everything is updated. on delete, if you delete a user, you will not be allowed to if it has a reference here. Okay. So in a way to read and understand it. And if there are questions you have, we can use LLM. Created at is default and it is current timestamp. In our case, what we had a created at which is a date time field, okay, not null, and it's default now, which is current timestamp in SQL language. And unique is on the email. We had added a unique on the email. That's the create index. That's a unique index here. What else did we have? Unique on favorite user ID, tool ID key. And this was our unique, unique of user ID and tool ID. Hmm, nice. There we go. Converted to all SQL queries, all SQL. So we have created the SQL commands or scripts, but now we need to generate something. Okay. And the command for that one. So, okay, let me also share this. Wait, where's our agents.md? We had a list of commands to run, right? Let me add it right here. Okay. The next one we have to run is npx prisma generate. Ran it and it has generated blah blah blah. And what has it done? It has created this dev.db, which I can't open it because it's binary encoding. But this one created the database. Okay. It generated Prisma client in this folder. So in node modules slash Prisma client, generator some scripts. So it generated basically something. Okay. What is it doing? So this red R's schema, it emitted the TypeScript types for every model and every relation in the node modules folder. So now when we start writing like code, which is like db.tool.find many kind of. So now, if you remember, we had written some to do, right? In source, app, borrows, all these to do things where we had like db.borrow request.find many. So all these autocomplete is now going to come from, uh, now is now going to be shown to us. Okay. Now this all these autocomplete will start working. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. Do we have get current user? I don't think we have created it yet. But when we create it, we'll have like some autocomplete. I guess I can still do the db dot this one if I remember, and we'll have to import db from a new file we'll have to create. Okay, when once we create it, so in our lib folder, we'll create a db, which is where we'll tell, okay, make sure that there's a Prisma client available and everyone will import database from that file, kind of. Uh, and then we'll have all these suggestions working. And that comes from the generated schema that is now put in node modules. Okay. Uh, let's quickly create. What should we create? Hmm, yeah, let's create the db.ts. Perfect. That would be ideal right now. Okay, so just to get a reference of what I'm talking about, we will import Prisma lib SQL from at prisma slash adapter libsql, yeah, adapter dash libsql, import prisma client from prisma slash client. So, step one, we need to create a new prisma client instance using this. Uh, okay, I'm going to create a function, create prisma client, and it's going to have const URL equals to from our env, or this is going to be exactly what we had in uh, prisma. So technically this line is what I need. I'm adding it here. Const adapter equals to prisma lib sql for that URL, and we will return a new prisma client for that adapter, and we close this. Perfect. Okay, so we are creating a new prisma client instance, which is going to be bound to the specified uh, database URL specified via the lib SQL adapter. Okay, perfect. So this is what this function is doing. Next is const global for Prisma. You don't need undefined. It is Prisma client. Okay. Now this one might be a bit tricky. Not tricky. Might be something new that you're coming across possibly. So what is this doing? Okay. So we have generated a schema. We'll get autocomplete at some point as soon as we start using it. But we need to expose our database function. Okay. So after this, every time we want to use anything from our database, which is like create something in database or pull something out of a database, this file is going to help us do that. The problem is that in Next.js, every time we do a save, it hot reloads. Okay, basically a refresh happens. On every reload, it is going to run everything again, and this will now call uh, this function, this file again, where it will create this new Prisma client again, which means it will open a new database connection. And at some point, SQLite will be like, too many connections are here. Okay, so it will stop your database. So if you basically put save 10 times, after 10 times, you will not be able to read from database because SQLite will limit the number of connections. It's like how many people can open the same file at the same time, maximum 10, for example. Okay, so we are creating this global this, which means that we are going or which will help us cache a client. Okay, so during reload it will be like, oh, I already have access to it, and we don't need to open a new connection. Okay, so yeah, this is just to ensure that we always only have one connection. Okay, one connection only. Okay, cool. So as I was writing this, so kind of I'm going to say singleton prisma client instance. Yes. So now we'll do export const db, which is a prisma client global this dot prisma or else this. And if process.env.node environment not equal to production, then it is equal to, okay, perfect, done. So now if I go to pages and I try to import this, as you would see, it now has like all the fields that we would need. Okay, all the functions that are available via the generation that we did. So if I remove that path, Okay, if I delete this file, we will not have autocomplete. Okay, so that generate is specifically for all these autocomplete. As you see, it says no suggestions. Okay, if I do this, it says no suggestions. Like, okay, yes, you have access to the Prisma client, but what tables are there? What columns are there on the tables? There's nothing you can do. Okay, but so to get it back, we have to run npx Prisma generate. Ah, problematic. We'll have to do the previous one again and generate. Why is it? Oh, oh, because I deleted that entire folder. Oops. I should basically do uh npmi. Perfect. Schema generated, and we'll have everything that we would need. Perfect. Okay, cool. So that's our database instance and creating a client, Prisma config, agents, migrations, and I guess that's it. I Let me see my notes if there's anything that we have missed. So this is basically we have reached like the phase three of 3 or 4 kind of. Okay. Okay, let me push all of this right now. Git add all, git commit dash m. This is where we add Prisma config and db.ts and git push. Don't need to do a force push. Okay, so this was the important bit of creating the Prisma schema, which is our database schema, and also creating the parts of uh, sorry, or also creating the generation of SQL and giving access to our database instance. Okay, that's that file db.ts is all about reading the database. Okay, so I guess that is a good enough point for not doing copy paste. Now from this point onwards, we'll do some copy paste. Okay, which is majorly around like some files. Okay, example, if you remember yesterday we had that toggle button. Okay, for favorites we had like you can favorite a tool, not favorite a tool. uh, mm. So these pages, some of these pages, they need to basically have some database accesses, right? Currently, which is everything is in to do, but we need to ensure that this is filled with some layout. uh, it has some details, so we'll fix that up. Okay, things that we will write. I am thinking the things that we'll write. I think we can write the session.ts possibly. Uh, like manually write it down. Session.ts. We will write the validation.ts. We will write the request.ts. Okay, let's write those bits down before we copy paste the UI pieces. So in source folder, lib folder, domain folder, okay, we will have a single file which is going to be our request.ts. This is the business logic. Okay. So, what are the business logic that we discussed yesterday? Let me come back on screen for that. So, one of the business logic that we discussed yesterday was that the owner of the tool cannot make a request for themselves. Okay. That was one business decision. And then we discussed about the state, uh, kind of like status actions, right? That from this point onwards, where is the request going to go? Okay. So the status transition, the state machine is what we discussed. So all those business logic is what we'll write in request.ts. So we will write, for example, like if the first status is uh, pending, I guess. So from there, where can it go? From pending, it can go to approved or it can go to rejected. So which is the next available action? Okay, that is what we are going to write. So all that business logic, let's write down that business logic. Okay, so some types. So export type will have a type called as decision. This was in our agents. Okay, it has a field called OK, which will be true, or it will be okay false with a reason of string. We'll have an export of type request action, which will be approve, reject, and then we can also have return or cancel, and not resubmit or anything. Cancel. Okay, perfect. Next, the function of is this an owner or not? Okay, so let's create export function is owner. Okay, is an owner. That depends on like it will take some parameters. First is tool, and we'll pick from tool, which is coming from Prisma client, the owner ID field and the user ID, and it will return a boolean. And what is this going to tell us? This is going to return true if the user is the owner of the tool, false otherwise. Then we'll need a function decide whether a user may create a borrow request, blocks self requests, and requests from tools that are not available. Okay, this is the function. So can create a request, yes. It will take a parameter of tool, and it will pick the owner ID from it and the availability, and the not the user ID, but more like a requester ID, I will call it, and it returns a decision. Okay, it's going to return a decision. Either it is okay true or it is okay with false, and the reason why that's not possible. Okay, and we have a function if is owner of the tool, then we will say return okay false, and you cannot borrow your own tool. If not is tool available, okay, if a tool is not available, again we'll return okay false, and the decision is that this tool is not available uh, for borrowing. Otherwise, other than these two conditions, we'll always return true. Okay, good so far. uh, all these imports are only used as a type, so let's add import type. Next up is hmm, we'll have to create a constant, I think. So const required status, and it's going to be a record of a request action, and not a tool of status, but more like borrow request of status. Approve goes to pending, reject goes to pending, return goes to approved, and cancel goes to pending. Okay, cool. Yes, there we go. This is like actually, this is more like a constant, but we'll create a function now which will use this constant. Okay, so export function can transition, and this will take a request which will pick borrow request and this, and action will be this and return a decision. Perfect. Okay, so we'll return if the request status is one of these required status dot action, then true, else you cannot this do. Okay, I can we can possibly can't do this action, can't action okay. So what have we created here? Very simply, what we have created here is that if the required status, okay, of that action. So example, what are the possible values here? Uh, if the user has kind of uh, I don't know, been rejected from getting the tool, then can they return a tool that they have been rejected from getting? No, right? That's not possible. So this function is basically checking that is the user, okay, or whoever, like whatever is the status, is it valid from the current status? So if the current status is going to be approved, then the next valid status is going to be sorry, if the current status is going to be pending, then the next valid status is going to be approve or reject, okay, or cancel. If the current status is pending, then the other possible options are going to be approve, reject, or cancel. But if the current status is rejected, then can it go to like returning the tool? No, that's not a valid. Okay, so basically our function is going to work, or our state machine is checking if what you're trying to do is that valid or not. Next, not export function next status. It takes in the action request action, and all it is going to do, do we not need this too much? A bit much. I can just basically return an object saying that approve is approve, reject is rejected, return is return, cancel is this, and perfect. What is this? Actually, I can enhance it a bit as const, and then here I can do an action. And I don't need to return a null. I would not want to return a null here. And don't need to return null from this one. I think I have one too many bracket. Don't need the bracket here. I think I would need that bracket here somewhere. Why is this complaining? Oh, I have a spelling oh, not me. This has a spelling mistake. Okay. Hmm. I guess yeah, that should be it. I don't think there is any problem here. So what's the next possible action? That is what this one is going to check. So from one action to the next possible action, uh, a valid possible action. That is all this function is going to do. And then we need a function for what is going to be the tool availability. Return the tool availability after an action, okay? Or null if no change is needed. So, example, uh, if the action, which is like, let's say I request for a tool and it has been approved, then the tool becomes unavailable, which means if the action is approved, then we'll return false. If the action is returned, I borrow a tool, I do my work, and then I return the tool, then now it is available to someone else. Okay. And on like if I request for a tool and it gets rejected, or if I request for a tool and that request I then go and cancel myself, then the tool availability remains unchanged, which means it will remain available. If I make a request and that request is, well, I can't make a request for a status which I don't have access to, sorry, which is not a possible status. I don't think we'll need to worry about it. So export function tool availability after is what I have written. Okay. Action is request action, boolean or null. And all I do is if action equals triple equals to approve, then return false. If it is equal to return or cancel, it is true, else it is null. Okay. So yeah, I guess this is it kind of. And finally, we need another business decision or business logic of can the borrower cancel their request? Okay. So mostly, uh, if it is a pending request, that's the only time possible that you can actually cancel your request. Uh, and you can only cancel your own request, not someone else's, right? So I guess that can be one of the other functions. So I'm trying to basically create a few function, decide whether uh, the borrower may cancel their request. Export function can cancel request. It needs a request which will it needs to pick fields from the borrow request. We need the status and the requester ID, the user ID, and we'll return a decision. So if requester ID not equal to user ID, okay, then return false, saying that this is you're not the requester of this borrow request. And if it is not a pending request, you can only cancel this, otherwise you can always return true. Okay, I guess this is some of the business functions. We can make a bit more decisions around like multiple things here, I would say, in my opinion. We can have decisions around whether uh, not whether remember on day one, on the first session when we were discussing, we found that what if I make a request to borrow a tool but I never actually go and borrow it, like manually I don't go and borrow it, then we'll need a new status for it. So maybe we can create a new status and add some business actions here, saying, uh, I don't know, you request something, the request has been approved, but you never go and borrow it. Then maybe the owner of the tool can force cancel the request after 24 hours. Uh, you know, or maybe when I go and borrow it, I have to provide an OTP. So we can transition, uh, make a tool schema to have like, I think we have added uh, an OTP, a return OTP. We can possibly have a borrow OTP as well, where when I go to actually pick the tool, then I can have a borrow OTP, which will ensure that this transaction has happened. And we can add a business function here saying that, oh, uh, you can do XYZ thing with it. Let's see what LLM comes up with. So if I give it this schema, for this schema, I have created the following requests.ts, which is basically business logic. What other logic can I add? And how can I improve the existing requests.ts? Okay, let me do a commit here, and then we can copy paste what that one, like what LLM gives us. Okay, let's see what it gives us. I'm curious. Incorporate authorization, fine. Deduplication cancel, okay. New logic to add is OTP verification, handle secondary requests. Okay, okay. A good one, frankly. Yes, that is good, good, good. So if I copy paste what LLM has given me, let's see. Let's do a comparison. So of course, some comments, fine. Is owner, is requester. In this case, we are checking if the requester ID matches the user ID. Returns true if the user is the one who requested the tool. Fine. Request creation rules can create request, tool, requester ID, and existing request. Okay. So it has created a new business decision or a new business logic around the fact that we want to prevent the duplicate pending request from the same user for this tool. Okay, which is good. I think that is, yeah, that's a logical and a very valid scenario. We don't want the same user to create request for the same tool again and again. Okay, so yeah, good. Life cycle and state transition. State machine require status define strict status prerequisites for each action. Fine. I think a better definition here. And then we have the target. Okay, good. So approve, like pending can be approved, pending can be rejected, approve can be returned, pending can be cancelled. Uh, and the target status, fine. And then validate state transition can perform action. I think we had. Oh, we did not have it. Actually, like we did not have it directly. Uh, it has created a better looking function for it. So step one is it validates both, like this can perform action function. It validates both status transition validity and the user permission. So it checks if the status, request status, if it is not equal to one of the required status action. In that case, it says you cannot do this, which is something that we had written in here somewhere. Where is it? Yeah, this one. Okay. So it has improved that function, which is good. I would say that. Then it is checking the user permission depending on the action. So if the user is owner and user is requester or not, like there are two condition, two functional checks for two different variables. Uh, then if the action is approve or reject, and if the user is not the owner, in that case, okay, it's saying only the tool owner can approve or reject request. Okay, a good one. Yep, agreed. Action cancel. In that case, again, only requester can and cancel this request right now. So this is going kind of against something that we discussed like 5 minutes ago, where we want the owner of the tool to also be able to cancel the request. But right now, based on the current scenario and the current schema, that is not possible. We'll have to make some transitions there. If it is a return, both the borrower and owner are typically allowed to coordinate a return. So if somehow a different user is trying to return it, then again this will fail. Otherwise, it's always true. Next status is going to be target status, then action, fine. And this is, well, okay, it left this one as is, which is okay, good. And a new logic of OTP generation and verification. Okay. So this one is going to generate the OTP, but we actually have a function for it. Like I was going to do it, add it later. Mhm. Verify OTP, actually, again, we have functions for it. I just not added it here. And batch and collateral actions returns a list of request IDs that should be auto cancelled or auto rejected when a specific request is approved because the tool is no longer available. Okay, so it is basically saying that if five people have requested a tool, the owner approves one request or like request of one person, the other four should automatically be cancelled or kind of rejected because, well, the tool is no longer available, right? So basically, it returns a list of IDs. Yes. Okay, cool. I guess this is much better state machine, or more like the logic has been kind of captured well, which is great. Maybe we could have this. So I will actually add all of this as a comment. Let me discard this change, and I can add a comment section here saying Gemini suggestions on improving the code. And this is what it has. And I need I need to comment it all out. So come on, go for it. So in the future, you can technically just copy paste this entirely, and that should be a better looking code with much more straight transitions. Wait, that's my code, right? From here. And I can add all of this as comment. Okay, cool. I guess. Okay. Well, there is a problem. Fair enough. Run lint. Fine. And nothing's failing. Will the build work? That's important. Npm run build. As long as that passes, we're good. Yep. Perfect. And is our dev up and running still? Npm run dev. Yep. That is good as well. No failures on any page, which is good. That's always great. Perfect. Okay, I guess that's it. We can remove this. And better. Okay. Okay, cool. Let me push all of this. So that's our request.ts with some Gemini suggestions, which are commented out. So if you want to have a bit more uh, state machines, much more functions which are more fair, in my opinion, you can uncomment it. Uh, Git add all, git commit, add business logic, and git push. Perfect. Next things that we need. Let me look at the time. Okay. We're going to be short on time. So let me just kind of quickly copy paste a few things. So next is some constants, some additional constants. So routes were there, tool icons were there, steps were there. We need constants around category labels, the enums that we had created basically. Yeah, we'll need some labels for them. The conditions that we had created, if you remember, we'll need some naming for that as well. The statuses that we have created, which we have duplicated quite a few times. I'm pretty sure we can improve on it. So yeah, all of these are again some of the important ones, and the request status. And we have one enum missing, which is why this is complaining. New, which will just be new. Perfect. And now I can do npm run lint. Okay. So all this does is it gives some names and some like all the constants that we have. It gives them some labels, some text labels. So example, wherever we use the enum like new, uh, we can basically write the word like space new there. Okay. We use the enum, the value of that condition on the screen. So example, when I list a tool, I will choose from the drop down, let's say like new. Okay. And to the user, it would be visible as like space new, things like that. And then not the final one, two more. that we need to create is going to be session.ts and our validation.ts. Okay. Session.ts, if you remember day one, we talked about HTTP only cookie. And yeah, I guess that was the major one, right? HTTP only cookie. And since we are not doing the authentication, we'll just have a demo HTTP only cookie. And we need to create a function. Okay. This would be export async function get current user. Okay. And we'll do const id equals to await cookies. Now this cookies is going to be imported from next slash headers, and we will, once we get this, then we'll do a dot get, and then you will use the cookie name and get the value of it. So if this exists, if this id exists, then const user equals to await db dot user dot find unique user where the id matches the cookie id, and if the user exists, then return that user. Else we will return db dot find first or throw. Okay, we'll find the first user in our database which is available, but if there is no user in the database, we will throw an error. Okay, so very simply, that is what this function does. And in our validation.ts, we'll have some validations around some of the things that we have already created. Now we are using Zod for validation, and I realize that some of these values that I'm going to paste can come from what's the word? Can come from constants, but the code is not cleaned up. So maybe that could be the next thing. From Zod, I am like creating a tool that is the form. It will have a name, category, condition, description, neighborhood, and rules, and it will have some like minimum characters, maximum characters. Uh, Category can only be one of the options in the drop down. Condition can only be one of the conditions in the drop down, so on and so forth. Okay. Uh, Technically, this should also have new in here because we have that. So I've duplicated some of the things that are already in constants. So this needs cleanup. So I can add a to do comment here. Needs cleanup. Duplicate from constants.ts. Okay. So this is a to do comment on the file itself. And maybe possibly it would be nicer if we can clean it up. So awaiting a PR here. Okay, so these are some like these are the three files that we have improved on. And what else? In the src, not it, yeah, in the src folder, we'll have to add a few more things. Hmm. So what are those things? So these are some server actions. Remember, we were on day one or day or session two. We were talking about that we won't have API requests. We will basically have server actions where Next.js, like our UI, will call the function directly and run something, and that something is going to be these server actions. Uh, so we'll have server action for favoriting things. We'll have server action for requesting things. We'll have server action for session itself. We'll have some server actions for tools. So all of these uh, like kind of need to be added. Uh, so this was the previous commit, which I have now pushed. The server actions, what do they do? Okay, let's talk about at least one server action. Let's say we have a server action for favoriting a tool. Okay, so I'll create a folder called as actions, and in this we have a file called as favorites.ts. Since this is not a client side request, this is more of a server side. We will have a use server defined at top to let Next.js know that this is a server side action. Okay. Next, I'll start creating the function export async function, which is going to be called as toggle favorite. Now, what can you favorite? You cannot favorite a user, you can favorite a tool. Okay. So it needs a tool ID as an input, and it is going to be a promise. And what will it return? Okay. It will return a decision, ideally, right? That's what it should return. So it would return okay true or okay false with reason. Actually, it should return okay, and it should return me if it was favorited. So true or false kind of. So maybe not decision. We'll have to create a new type. Okay, which is true, and favorited, which is going to be boolean. Boolean. Okay. So this action should always complete with okay true, but yeah, yeah, I'm writing the code. Hold on. Cool. So now, was it favorited or unfavorited? That is what the favorited bit will tell me. Okay, that's why the boolean. So first, we need to know who is the user. So we'll have a me equals to await get current user. Okay, which is defined in the session.ts. Okay, that tells us who is the current user logged in. Then we'll add some logger.info, and we can have something like, let's say, action dot toggle favorite, and it will log the tool ID and the user ID. Now, uh, first thing that we need to check if what's the existing status, right? So existing status is going to be await db dot favorite dot find unique, where the tool ID underscore user ID, I think it was called user ID underscore tool ID, where the user ID is this and tool ID. Yeah, I'm basically trying to ensure that it is exactly the way I wrote it. We'll need to import db from lib. Okay, now actions. What are the two possible actions that this can have? If it is existing, okay, there's existing either favorited or unfavorited. Sorry, existing favorited. Then in that case, it becomes unfavorite. Else, we will favorite it. Okay. Now we can write a code. Sorry, we can wrap it in metrics to see how much time it takes, because this is going to be asynchronous, right? So we can have await logger dot metric. Okay. And the action could be db dot favorite dot toggle. So that is what we will log. Since this is an asynchronous request, because well, it can take time to write to the database, right? So async, and if existing, in that case, we'll do await db dot favorite dot delete, where ID, I think this is too much. We can just very simply write ID is existing dot ID. Else db.favorite.create data with user ID and tool ID. Okay. And finally, from here, we can do, since it's a logger.metric, we can do tool ID, user ID, and action. Perfect. So that's what we log. This is where the action happens. And this bit is about the logging itself. Now, once this has happened, we want to tell Next.js that it needs to revalidate the path. Okay. Revalidate path tells Next.js that, oh, you have cached a page, but I want to update the page. New data has come in. So which route do we want to update? We have saved all the routes, if you remember. So routes dash has a saved. Okay. That's where we'll update. We also need to update another path, which is routes dot. Which one was tools, if I remember? Was it list new tools? I think we'll have to create one. So tools will be slash tools, and we'll do routes dot tools forward slash tool ID. Okay. The reason why I'm doing this is because if you remember in our where was it, in app, in tools, we have this square bracket ID. So this means that we will go to the route forward slash tools slash some ID, and that some ID is this tool ID. Then we can do again logger.info. Uh, this was done or success or something like that. And we can log some actions, and finally we'll return OK and favorite it. Now we just need to do what, I have no idea what this is, but we need to just run lint. Now, how will we use this? Okay, we have created this function. Where will we use it? So we'll need to create a component. In a component, we can create a new file called as favorite button.tsx, and we can also create a favorite.module.scss. The CSS itself, I'm going to copy paste. Well, actually, the favorite button itself, I will copy paste. Uh, Now, what will this button do, or what is supposed to happen here? So ideally, we actually have to basically, I'll copy paste this entire thing. It's a client side uh, button. Okay. This favorite button itself is going to be called on a page, on a tools page. Okay. uh, all it does, it tries to basically use state internally to handle the click save to database. There's a button, uh, and there's this is a heart emoji to favorite it or unfavorite it. Very simple. Okay. Now where should this be shown? It will be shown on the tools page. Okay, so I will need to copy paste this entire tools page to actually show something there. So a lot of things are going to fail when I do that. So, maybe I can just show it. So if I go to favorite button, Um, I guess we don't need to do much. Okay, good. So in here, the one of the things that the server action that I want to show you is basically the server action that we have created that is triggered inside this handle click. Okay, we start transition, uh, which is again coming from basically React use transition hook. Uh, it starts a transition. We are waiting for this toggle favorite tool to return a value, and then we set the local state variable right here. Okay, so ideally, or more importantly, what I want to show you, or slash what I wanted to talk about in this server action is going to be like you create a server action, and on the client side, you call that server action, you await a result, and then you can do some local state change. Okay, very simply. Now, do you see it in action? We'll have to create a tools card where we can show this button. Maybe I can just very simply. Okay, I think this should be fine. This is not going to work out well, but possibly if we go to the tools page, list a tool, we'll have to go to a tools new page. Uh, so let me copy paste this there. So basically, if we had, instead of this empty state, if we had a button of favorite, and tool ID can be just something, and I don't need this. So which page am I on? I am on the new page, and there would be a button to basically do like favorite or unfavorite. Okay. So that is what this button is now doing. I know it doesn't look like much, but it is doing a server action, a proper server action. And it might be crashing right now because we don't have tools listed in the database itself. Uh, but yeah, here we go. It tries to do this find first or throw. It says, oh, there's no user actually. So that's why it's failing. So to add a user, we'll have to add some seed data. Okay, that's what I was going to do next, which was copy some seed data. I guess I can copy paste some seed data actually right now. So in our Prisma, we can create a seed.mts, and I can paste this. So after pasting the seed data, we need to ensure that we can run this seed. So let me go back to our ZSH and run Prisma DB seed. Why is it failing? No, that's a lie. I added it just right now. Oh, seed.ts. Okay, that's the problem. It should be seed.mts, I think. Yeah, as in like my file name is called seed.mts. Yeah, there we go. That should fix it. Yeah, the seed command has been executed, which means I now have a user. Okay, so now if I do this, it might fail on a different reason, which will not be like the user is not defined, because now there is a user defined. And in my cookies, I have a user which has been added. This is the user. Okay. So uh, that's about adding seed data, which is some fake data. My fake data has a few things, like some users which are in different neighborhoods and some like fake details. Uh, but yeah, I guess that is it for the time being. I will revert this particular change and revert this particular change because it is not completed. Hmm. But I can copy paste all the other changes that are needed. So let me just push this, get add all. Oh, yeah, over time. Do I? Okay. It'll take 5 more minutes to basically finish this off and actually have it up and running. I won't abandon you all. So give me 5 more minutes. Uh, add favorite actions and git push. Okay. So at this point, we have pushed everything, which will not be much. It has seed data in it. It has user, like basically user created, but it doesn't have any working page yet. Okay, which is what I wanted to copy paste. So let's do that. Let's copy paste all the server actions that we will need, which is these three, and all the pages that we will need. So I can just copy paste all the borrows and everything. Let me delete all of this and let me very quickly copy paste them. Okay, yes, that should be it. So now if I go to browse, oh, I have some components missing. Let's see. In components, I have to have availability toggle and cancel request button. Uh, Favorite is fine. Filter bar is what is needed. And then we have footer, which is okay. The OTP generator and OTP return form, that was the next bits to add. Then we'll have some request actions and request action button, request list, okay, which goes right here. Theme toggle is fine. Nothing much to do. Tool photo was the next thing that we needed. And finally, the user switcher. Oh, we had some CSS for that as well. So yeah, this would have been the entire project, which is approximately 38 files pending. And let's see, why is it failing? Okay, it is failing at the tool card. So Where is tool card? Did I not add it? Okay, I think I did not add it. And I missed the tool photo.module.css. Okay, and I think I have messed up on what is track link. See, I think I have an import path issue here. Perfect. Ah, awesome. There we go. So, took a bit of time to realize what is going wrong. Track link was coming directly from here. Perfect. But ideally, this is all the pages. So tool loop, browse, list a tool, all the saved tools. And I don't have any saved tools yet. I'm 100% sure I'm missing a few things here. Uh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to copy paste the entire components folder, which would be easier as compared to whatever I did right now. And similar for app folder as well. Should not have too many changes, honestly. Okay, that was a bad idea. Okay, cool. I'm pretty sure I have copy paste problems right here with the possibility of. Okay, I'll push that in like after the end of this session. Should not be much, but I'm hoping that it works out. Okay, browse. Okay, cool. Uh, Why am I missing? I'm missing some of the things because of the app itself. Tool card. I don't know why that keeps complaining. Because it needs a relative path. Possibly that's why. Okay. Anyways, the dashboard will also have some. Okay, fine. Requests. Oh, in actions, I need a few more actions here. Seed the database and npm run dev. And okay, tool availability after was not found in request.ts. That's not possible. Oh, what? Where did that go? Okay, cool. Much better. So I have my dashboard, which has details. I have list a tool. I have saved. You can create a tool here. You can browse through different tools. I can click on the tool itself to get to the details page of it. And that has a problem again, which we can very quickly fix. Tool detail page. That entire page is missing for me. Why is that missing? Is it inside one of these things? Oh, it's in tools id page.tsx. Fine. And it is because of this track link, which is coming from different place now. Okay, there we go. Details of the tool itself. Perfect. I guess that would be it. So this needs a bit of changing here and there to ensure that it works out perfectly fine. You could also add changing a user in the drop down here to change between like different users. Borrows page also has this problem, which is in borrows and page.tsx. Oops. Okay, cool. And there we go. You can have a pending request, you can cancel a request, and I don't think there's any other page left technically. So yeah, that's everything that I wanted to show. Major focus was supposed to be on Prisma, on the DB itself. Everything else is more or less Next.js basics. I can do a temp commit here saying that this was feature, add temp changes, and git push. Don't need to force push anything. And there we go. You can have the entire project from here. And the question, and to answer this question, when can you actually contribute to the project? It would be right after this. You can now start contributing to the project. I'll try and get it to a stage where it works perfectly fine, and then you can start adding to it. Okay. Any questions, anyone? Meanwhile, the feedback form, it's in the chat. So please, if there's anything you want to provide feedback on, you can. Uh, and after this, enjoy uh, the next session, which would be in approximately 1.5, 2 hours, which is today in Global Hack Week, day 3. What's happening on day 3? Have a look at it. And yeah, any questions, anyone? Okay. If not, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. We went slightly over the hour, around 20 minutes over our time. Uh, but it's all like the entire project. Yeah, it's a big project, right? Okay. Uh, but yeah, everything has been pushed. You can actually pull it, actually have it working. Keep an eye on the GitHub repository because I'll push a few more changes so that this is supposed to look like a heart and it's not. So I need to fix that. Okay, cool. Cheers. Thanks, everyone. And you are absolutely welcome. Bye bye.